Why soft skills are important and essential for today's personal success. That is the topic that we'll be speaking about in this 1.5 hours. I think participants know this person who is yeah, I think many of you might have guessed it, or at least some of you might have guessed it. Charles Darwin's theory, when it was Origin of Species, when it was translated, Professor McGinson speaks about it is not the strongest of the species that survive, not the most intelligent, but the one most responsive to change. It's an important thing that we should adapt to changes. And I think you don't need to speak about change. This is a most appropriate occasion to speak about change from the virtual, from the face-to-face communication mode. We have turned virtual, we have turned online, and all of us are picking up the skills that are required for online teaching and online learning. And it's very important to adapt yourself. Otherwise, it's like, as they say, shape yourself or ship out. That's what they say. Okay, so I'll be speaking about a few topics that are displayed here. One is about the soft skills in general, communication skills, emotional intelligence, time management, stress, okay, and the couple of things which are given at the bottom. Okay, so this is the main area which I'll be speaking about in this session. All right, regarding the difference between hard skills and soft skills. Hard skills is the ability that comes from the knowledge, practice. Most of the time that you have something that you learn in the college, subjects like mathematics, physics, the theoretical elements based on the concept is all the hard skills. They can be learned by reading a book. You can increase your competence. That's what is the hard skill. Contrary to the hard skill, soft skills cannot be measured easily. Soft skills are unseen perhaps, but you can always feel about it. They are the desirable qualities for any employment, and it does not only it includes knowledge. They include how to deal with people, how to apply the knowledge into a practical situation. That's why most of the companies look for experience, or at least internship, practical experience from the students as they pass out the graduation or the undergraduate programs. It's extremely important. Further going on to the next part of it, soft skills is always speaking about skills which are the character traits and the personality altogether. Okay, and these are the character traits we speak about: the optimistic, adaptable, honest, respectful, dependable. These are the character traits. Along with this is the interpersonal traits like empathy, team working skills, the leadership quality, the good manners, and the sociability skills. These are extremely important. And all these are a part of the soft skills that make you a rounded personality. Now, if you look at the terms used about soft skills, different countries, different parts of the world use different terms. For example, some people use it as employability skills. Some use it as a core skills or generic skills. These are the same terms used for measuring the same aspect of soft skills. Now, Goethe says that every individual is a marvel of the unknown and unrealized possibility. The soft skills here describes the ability of a person and the effectiveness of the person. Unlike the hard skills, they cannot be easily measured as mentioned before. They are intangible. However, if you look at the psychometric tests which are part of interviews these days, many of the multinational companies conduct psychometric tests because they want to measure the candidates, not just the certificate, not just the marks or the grade that they got, but they also want to measure the candidate's suitability for the role that is available. They also want to measure the personality characteristics and the aptitude or the cognitive abilities of the learners these days. Okay, these are very important these days. If you look at the studies, the research so far, 75% of the long-term job success depends on people skills, and only 25% is just technical knowledge or the soft skills, the actual technical knowledge. Another research speaks about the hard skills that contributes only 15% to one's success. 85% of one's success is due to the soft skills or generic skills. It's hard to have this soft skills, because there are some abilities, the teachable specific abilities that can be defined hard skills. However, soft skills are very difficult to quantify, but you can feel the impressions of the soft skills of a person, but you can't measure it, because at the end of the universities, you are not getting a certificate of how much this student has scored in time management, how much respectful the student, there's no score for it, but you can always feel about the student's behavior in that way, or the person's behavior. Now, let me list some of the soft skills which are high in demand these days. Communication, integrity, interpersonal skills, professionalism, responsibility, teamwork, and these are some of those highly valued skills in the employable market. If as a student, if you can focus on these things, besides focusing on the studies, you will definitely be a good product at the end of your college studies to be much sought after by the industry today. You know that in a study conducted in the USA among 3,000 people, 45% of the people said their number one fear was speaking to an audience. And only much less than that, 35% of the people said as the death as the number one fear. So you can see that people consider speaking in public is very, very stressful for many people, that they consider. They would rather be dead, rather than speaking in public. Now, these are the greatest 10 fears that was found out in the survey: public speaking, death, spiders, the dark, the heights. So you can see that the number one fear is speaking to people in public. And this fear of speech is one out of every 4 individuals suffer from this speech anxiety. And what is the term for the specific fear of public speaking? Any idea? The technical term for fear of public speaking. It's called glossophobia. Okay, glossophobia. Glossa means tongue, phobia means fear. So it's very difficult to speak in front of the public for many people. But if you can hone the skills, you will be definitely climbing up the corporate ladder once you join the firms. And you can see that most of the leaders that you look around, whether it's your family or at your workplace or in your college or in your classrooms, most of the people who can speak well, gel well with people, they have social skills, they are much valued and they become more acceptable to the other people. Now, when you talk about verbal and non-verbal communication, remember, verbal, when you speak in a face-to-face scenario, which one is much more having impact on the listeners or the viewers? Is it verbal or the non-verbal? Certainly, it is the non-verbal communication. It is not just the words, but it's your gestures and the movements that will carry the message or the meaning forward to the listeners, to the audience or the viewers. If you take the percentage of how much percentage is words and how much percentage is non-verbal communication, I just want to brief you on that. You can see whopping 93% of face-to-face communication is given by all the means other than words. Look at how much words carry the meaning of the message. It is just 7% of the words. 7% of the message is only the weightage of the words, but the rest of the things are by visual. When you talk to people, let's say the most important thing is to look at the person, observe them, look at their gestures, the hand movements, and the eye contact, which is much more important than the verbal part of the communication. How to make a great first impression? Be on time, whether it is in a classroom, whether it's submitting an assignment, whether it is submitting your articles, your report. Be on time and be yourself, be at ease. Present yourself as, imagine you're all completing, I'm addressing the students, you're all completing your graduation in a few years' time, and everybody's going to hit the job market. And you know the difficulty of job employment markets in India, although we say Karnataka has lots of job opportunities, still everybody comes out from the same graduation certificate. Most of you have relatively same grades. How is the employer going to distinguish one person from the other? It's something else. It's something other than your your subject element that matters a lot. So present yourself appropriately. You should definitely have a winning smile everywhere, and be confident. That's, be courteous, be respectful and attentive. Listening skills is one of the most important qualities that you must have as a leader of tomorrow. I just recalled, I think you heard about Nelson Mandela. He's originally the son of a tribal leader in South Africa. When in an interview, Nelson Mandela was sharing that what's a secret of your leadership quality. Nelson Mandela said about his experience of going to the tribal meetings along with his father. And he speaks about, there are only two things that I recall from the meetings that they had in the tribal areas. One, as a leader of the tribe, my father made sure that everybody sits in a circle. That speaks about teamwork and leadership quality. Second thing he speaks about is, my father was the last one to speak in that meeting. It's very important to speak. At the same time, it's more important to listen, observe carefully. A good manager speaks only 20%, but the 80% of the time he spends on observing people, listening, reading about things, and then understanding the situation. And much less is given by his own words or her own words. So these are some of the tips on creating a lasting impression. All these are a part of the soft skills. We said about the body language. Remember, it's not what you say that counts. It's most often what you don't say that matters. People observe you, your body language, how your appearance, your attire, your looks, okay, how neat you are, how clean you are, how well you behave. These are the things will definitely take you forward in your life. Not just the subject, the core skills that you learn, not that the subject matter. I'm not demeaning the subject basic skills, but the personality is equally important for you to take you forward in your life. Now, again, I'm speaking about this because we all use social media these days. I'm also almost like an addict these days. I have a YouTube channel and all. So, but then, at the same time, we must remember that when you have an assignment, when you have a committed work, you will definitely need to be physically away from it. Nowadays, I'm sure, youngsters use a lot of social media, okay, or if it is, Snapchat or YouTube or TikTok, these are all very important. At the same time, have you heard about the social media, the professional social media called LinkedIn? 90% of the Western country employers first see your online presence before they recruit you for the position. LinkedIn has become an extremely valuable tool because it creates professional networking among the people in the working world, in the corporate world. So along with your personal, social networking, think about your professional social networking also, because tomorrow you will see that, your college professor who taught you is on LinkedIn, or an industrial leader, a CEO is on LinkedIn. So it's very important to have your social presence, and make sure when you post something on social media, even if you delete, it can be sometimes found somewhere in the social media. So be a responsible social media person. We all know these three figures, the old three monkeys. I'm sorry, they're not monkeys in this image, but they are, here, do not hear the evil, don't see the evil, and don't speak evil. Now, in these days of social media, there is a fourth monkey added to it. The fourth monkey is always with the social media, the tool that we use most often. Every time, in and out we use. So be responsible when you post something, when you forward something, make sure that it's a genuine news, so that tomorrow you're not at risk about your career or any sort of risk. Many governments have legal matters about this, about you post or what you like. So be a responsible citizen, a responsible netizen, I would say.
And that's the part. We have a growing body of evidence that shows that these factors matter, they predict, and the wonderful news is they can be improved. Soft skills are very important because they actually lay the foundations for then later learning.
All right, so that speaks about the importance of soft skills. And moving on to the segment, another segment, have you heard about the term emotional intelligence? Here I would like to have your mobile phones or your laptop go to this website called www.menti.com. Okay, let me go to the website called menti.com, MENTI, menti.com, and use the code 435639. And you can click in your answers. Do you know the term emotional intelligence? You can say either yes, no, or only heard about it. Okay. You can go to www.menti.com and give your answers. You will see the screen, and I'm sharing the screen from menti.com. You can log in the answers. Have you heard about the term? Have you heard what it is actually? What is the soft skills? What is emotional intelligence? The term emotional intelligence. Okay, so I can see a few responses live here. Okay, a few of them have said most people have heard about it, and yeah, some said I have not heard about it. That's fine. Some are responding to it saying that I've only heard about it. Okay, but I don't know what exactly it is. Okay, I'll give a few more seconds for you to log in, and then just go to menti, menti.com, and use the code 435639. And all right, so good to see, there's a good response on it. Okay, yeah, so you have heard the term emotional intelligence. Okay, a good number of people know exactly what it is. At least they have some idea about it. And some people said they have only heard about it, and a few said they have not heard about it. That's okay. So you can see that about, oh, okay, it seems that we have an equal percentage of people, 44% each, for those who have heard about it and those who know that. And there are a few 12% of the people who have not, who do not know what the term is. All right, so let's go back to your presentation. Let me continue with the presentation where I can explain what this soft skills are. This is a very, very important soft skill named emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence, as defined as the ability to monitor one's own emotions and feelings, and also put others' emotions and feelings. And you'll use this information to guide your own thinking and actions. Emotional intelligence is much sought after skill in today's corporate world, because they don't want people who are crybabies, people who lose their temper very soon, people who are emotionally upset. They will weep, they'll cry. Those people may have a very big challenge in the corporate sector. Now, if you can control your actions, now emotional intelligence is a combination of two things, as the image shows here. One is the emotion, the other one is intelligence. So you have to control your emotions always before it gets out of it. EI or EQ, the emotional quotient, revolves around your self-awareness. You must know what are the thoughts that comes to my mind and how it influences my action. How could I look at others with empathy? How can I motivate myself even though there are setbacks in my life? Can I motivate myself? Can I regulate myself? Can I have social skills? How to behave in a society, in a group, among a group of people? I'm not creating a scene. I'm not becoming a drama queen or a drama king in that situation. How am I going to react in this situation? That's very important. Again, experts have rated emotional intelligence. It's much more than the IQ that people have. It again underscores the importance of soft skills. It is not just your certificate and the score that you carry from when you leave the college. It's much more than that. And that's why we encourage you to participate in co-curricular and extracurricular activities. I was telling you the same thing. When all of you come out of the job, into the job market, tomorrow someone is asking, what is the difference between you and the other students in the class? There's the same core element. Everybody does the electives. There are some project work, group team works, but everybody has it. I know some of the students during the summer vacation, they go to Egypt. Okay, they do some teaching over there. They do go to a remote area in Oman, the Muscat, where I'm currently speaking and working from. and then they do something extra in addition. This is an important aspect of your career. Tomorrow, when you apply for the job, now remember one thing, whatever you participate extra, there should be a piece of paper from the authorities that can prove that you have participated. You can join a firm, you can join a voluntary activity, but make sure that you have a piece of certificate. So here we learn emotional quotient is much more than the intelligence quotient. Again, survey speaks about 45% of people who are working, okay, do not actually have the skills. 4 out of 10 people are not able to work cooperatively with their fellow beings. Okay? It's very, very important. So you may be high in IQ, intelligence quotient, but if your emotional quotient is low, there's a good chance that your life will be a huge struggle. You may not be happy with your life. Your personal life as well as your professional life will have a setback in the normal sense. So what you see normally is IQ. When you look around the successful people, what you see is, yes, he has done he is an IIT and he has done a graduate in a management institute of repute, an IIM, or in Harvard University. You speak about those IQ level, but what you don't see is how much is the emotional quotient for this person? How much is the emotional quotient? Now, a person with a low EQ will always lament on things what he or she doesn't have. It's a very pessimistic approach. If only I had been born rich, if only I had been, I had a different job, if only I look handsome. These are the low EQ person's crying. Whereas a person with a high level of emotional quotient, always he or she knows that there is a time to fight and there's a time to love. There's a time to laugh and a time to cry. Setbacks in life are normal and it's natural. Conflicts in life are a part of human existence. But you have to decide how I can overcome it. A high characteristics of people with emotional quotient which are high. You know that your personality, emotional quotient, and IQ, this is what determines your success as an individual. And emotions are contagious. Again, as students, since I'm addressing most of you as young graduate, undergraduate students, let me tell you that emotions are contagious, which speaks about the most important thing that you should be careful about is your network, the people who you are with. If somebody is having a very positive attitude towards life, no matter the setbacks of your life, you will have some kind of a positive energy from the person. However, if you're with a grumpy person who is always looking at the world with a negative outlook, then it's very risky for you because you'll also be influenced because emotions are highly contagious. It's more contagious than our coronavirus. It's contagious everywhere. You sit with the person, you're very positive, you're very energetic. You talk to somebody with a negative outlook, you'll feel sad and gloomy. So choose wisely who you are sitting with at this time. This takes us to the next point, that is time management. Remember that all the successful people in life have only 24 hours and not a second more than what we all have. But they have become more successful than the rest of it. It's all the organizing and managing yourself effectively. Now the image shows about a woodcutter, and it says that if I had 8 hours to cut a tree, I would spend 6 hours sharpening my axe. So this is a tip for you. Smart woodcutters doesn't go just chopping away tree because it will take hours for them to chop a tree if your axe is not well sharpened. This speaks about sharpening the tool, that is sharpening the skills that you have before you approach any particular aspect in life. All right. Time Jar by Stephen Covey. I think some of you might have heard about Stephen Covey, management guru, who is no more, not left, but there are plenty of videos and management tips on Stephen Covey if you check in YouTube. Stephen elements in this time jar. And one is the huge stone, the second one is a pebble, and third one is the sand. It all depends upon whether you consider the most important things in life. Stones are the huge elements in life. For example, your graduation, your studies, your examination, your marriage, your career. That's the most important thing in life. The pebbles are less important things in life. The things which are okay, but then, you could, take care of things, part of things which are going for a movie. These are all coming the sand element. You're going for a party, it's your choice. Nothing major happens in your life if you don't go for a party. It all depends upon your relationship also. So how you organize life is extremely important. That's a time jar theory. Now, as youngsters, when you talk about time management, what does this picture say? I think you can easily guess what this picture says. It speaks about one of the favorite topics that we speak, that is, two things at a time. Even when we attend the classes, we have a YouTube channel running on a mobile phone or some other TikTok running on the phone. That's what we think, that we believe that we are doing two things at a time. But many of us are not an exceptional multitasker. In a research that is conducted, only 2.5% of undergraduates can do two things at once without the performance deficit. Now, even if you consider you are among the 2.5%, there are chances that you are doing 30% of what you can focus on doing one thing than doing two things at a time. There are lots of perils of multitasking. Now, studies have shown that it lowers the IQ, though it is not very effective as we consider multitasking. In one of the studies, it says that it has the twice effect of smoking a marijuana than doing multitasking, because it affects the brain capacity. It results in a more disorganized mind. It impairs our ability to work and distinguish between relevant and irrelevant things. Psychologists calls it distraction inattentional blindness. So if you're not able to focus on one thing at a time, you might lose many things. That's why when you drive, many of us have the habit or tendency to drive and speak on the phone, either on the Bluetooth or anything. But please remember, when you drive and reach a destination and you are speaking on the phone, it's the most certain thing, as it was found in the studies, that you have not seen the road sign, the sign mark. You never knew how you reached. Oh, you reached your car parking, because your mind is particularly focused on the person you speak. You create a visual, mental images of the people, the person you speak with while you're driving. So you lose it. It's like a tunnel vision when you drive. You lose the lateral thinking, the things which are happening around you. That takes to another point they speak here, that is stress management. Now, in today's world, whether you are a student or a professional, we all undergo different kind of stress. Students have their own stress regarding assignments, and the exam, and the online, the commitments, and your practice sessions. As a professional, you've got lots of things to manage, but even if you're a homemaker, you'll again have lots of things to manage. So we all are stressed, and it's part of stress that is adding. However, not all stress are bad. There is good stress, what the psychologists called eustress, is a type of stress we should feel excited about. Getting onto a roller coaster, you know that it is stressful, but you enjoy the thrill. You have an exam, it has a stress. You may not enjoy it, but you need that stress to do your performance effectively. At job, your boss says something to you, your teacher, your head of the department speaks something to you. There is some kind of a stress which is part of it, and we should feel excited about it. That is called the positive stress. If you don't have that stress, it affects our performance. We underperform if you don't have that positive stress or the eustress. What we call it as a bad stress is the inability to concentrate on something. You might have irritability, you might lose, it affects your appetite. Some people, when they're under stress or anxiety stricken, they might eat a lot. Some people don't eat a lot, they will lose their appetite. Some people are more angry than usual, but not all stress are bad. It's very important, you must understand. Eustress, good stress, is extremely important. It's useful when you have a challenging work. It stimulates you mind as well as body. Okay, it's a short period, it's beneficial to you. Whereas the distress or the negative stress is bad and leads to anxiety, depression and mental collapse. So this is what you need to distinguish between. Now, there's a human curve of performance. It says there's a healthy tension that we should have. And look at the intended performance that goes here on the side. This is the intended stress that you can see. But then if you're exhausted, if you have too much of things are being affecting you, then your performance lowers, it goes down, and there's a breakdown and burnout feeling at the end. So how bad stress can become good stress? You shift the perception. You need to simply focus on the resources that you have to meet the challenge, or if not, add the resources, seeking the benefits of the situation, reminding yourself from time to time, what are the strengths of it? If I do this, what will I get? And have it a positive mindset. You need to think like an optimist, even if perhaps success is not always built on success. It can be built on failures. It is in those moments of frustration we realize our greatest potential. These kind of situations in life, when you reach a stumbling block, realize that perhaps it is a turn towards a new direction, a new opportunity that lies in front of us. Now, it's important, are the educational institutions are responsible for this soft skills development, the employability skills? Universities have a major role, and you as students, you must realize that classroom is an ideal learning ground where people can practice alternative ways of dealing with people. That is where you can easily practice your transferable skills, your soft skills, your generic skills, because you're having a miniature of the world around you in your classroom itself, people of different attitudes, approaches, beliefs. That's where you need to practice your soft skills, which are very important. Now, this is the seventh part, the last part that we are moving on. Brands and what they are known for. If you look at some of the global brands, for example, if you think about safety, you think about Volvo cars. If you think about luxury, you think about Mercedes-Benz or BMW. Or if you think about iPhone, there is a reliability factor that comes with it. If you think about Red Bull, that comes with adventure. You can see that image that they have created by, it can be through advertisement campaigns. If you think about FedEx, so every aspect, every part of the brands that you see around, the most popular brands, they have some value attached to it. And they have been very successful in driving that into your minds as the customer's minds. Now the question is, you are also a brand. So if you are a brand, an individual, what would you be known for among your classmates? If you think about that person, you have an image. That's what the power of soft skills. You think about that individual, you think about any person, a professional, a teacher, an office goer, or a person in your family. Everybody has got a brand image that they have built around, knowingly or unknowingly. Sometimes we may not want to be known for this particular characters, the phenomenon that they describe us, but we have no choice. This is what we have spread it unknowingly. So try to spread the knowingly. Perhaps describe you using any three words, for example, ability, behavior, maturity, personality. What kind of an ability that you have? You're average, you're consistent, you're very good, excellent. Rate yourself. Think about your behavior. What kind of behavior? Are you well behaved? Are you a sophisticated person in a society? Or are you a problematic, a disruptive person in the class? How mature you are. You're sensible, you're self-motivated, you're not carried away by your emotions, but you can think in a long-term way. If I act in this situation, will I burn the bridges? Will I spoil the relationship in the society? And what would people think about this? Or am I immature in that? Think about the personality. Is it well-rounded, all-rounded personality? Or is it, you lack curiosity and you depend heavily on others? And, your approach, is it positive? Is it eager? Or you're unmotivated or passive? Now, can you type in, again, this is an interactive session I view. Okay, we got some good words. Okay, this is called the word cloud. You're creating a cloud using the words sensible, responsible, optimistic, friendly, enthusiastic, fantastic, multi-talented, very good, calm, reliable, talented, self-motivated, reliable, energetic, calm, very dynamic. Yes, very good. Okay, so you can see you're creating your own word cloud using those words, and it's coming live on the screen. As you can see here, you're enthusiast. okay, energetic, multi-talented, dynamic, humble, calm, self. We can see all the words that you have put in here is being displayed over there. Thank you so much for those. I can see many of you are putting in words. Really appreciated, much appreciated in the situation we have. Over 250 people, around 260 people here. So thank you so much for putting in all those words. Very nice to see. Now the question is, okay, now that you've put in these words, my question to you is, do you think your friend or your classmate or your colleague will speak about you in the same way if they are describing you? This is what we want. This is what we are trying to. Now, make sure that your expectations are met with, the right results. People think about you in the same way. Are the people thinking that you're an enthusiastic person? Is your friend telling about you? You're trustworthy. You're optimistic. Your integrity is on, a high pedestal. Are people telling about you in the same way? That is a question that we need to be careful about. Are the people thinking about you in the same way as we wish to have? Okay, that's very important to think about. Make sure that whatever that you would like to project, people are actually looking at those in the same way. Okay, thank you so much for the participation. Let's move on. So remember, if you are a product, you are just like a product, just like you have a product in management. Some of you might be doing management. In MBA, we call it, every product has got its own stages, a stage of introduction, growth, maturity, and the decline. If you take for example, any model of a mobile phone or a TV set. Okay, so there is an introduction, there's a growth, there's a maturity, there's a decline. This is exactly what happens in our personal life also. Your career also has got this introduction, the growth. Now make sure that when you grow, you have got a certain peak, and then you will decline, maybe by age, maybe by mental faculties decline. Some kind of jobs will have a longer span, but some jobs, like the athletics, for example, for a sports person, the career will be very short, but there is a peak and there is a maturity and the decline. So make sure that your career graph rises and it reaches a particular stage as you desire. That's very important for you. What do you want to become in life? Okay, if you talk about soft skills, it's all aiming at your future. You might be choosing any profession. You might be doing an English program today, but after this graduate program, you might think about a different career altogether. But decide, do you want to become a professor, an architect, or a teacher, or an IT expert? Whatever, an engineer, a professional management person, or an entrepreneur in future. Whatever you want to become, you must build something about it. You must know, look at the job, the employability market. It's called the employability skills. When you look for things, what the employment market is looking forward to it. If you're targeting a particular job or a position, know that what is that my employer looks for you, not just for the graduation, not just for my certificate, other than this. So if you can add value to my certificate, in addition to my career, in addition to my certificate, if you can add something, some extracurricular activity, a job that you can perform in future, that will add value to you. Time interpersonal skills as more important than their analytical abilities. It's often said that hard skills will get you to the interview, but you need soft skills to get and keep the job or to get a promotion as well. So it's very important that not what you do, but how you can communicate well with what you're doing. And companies are continuing to rate the employees' interpersonal skills as more important than analytical abilities. It's said that hard skills will get you, and we said about this point. Okay, so this is what we are about to conclude here. Just to recap on this presentation, okay, we have spoken about soft skills, communication, emotional intelligence, time management, stress, the right attitude, and the branding. Okay, you as a brand. Thank you for the.
Am I seen?
Yes, thank you for your attendance. I really appreciate this efforts. Congratulate the management and the administrative team, the IT experts who are behind it. And the floor is open for your question and answers.